It's just fantastic. Captain's log, subdates 210505.7. We've run out of poppadoms, and as replicated ones are trash, I may be forced to alter course, to pop into the nearest underwater co-op, and buy all of them. No oiks shall enjoy the cuisine of the elder gods. So last week I was sent a couple of videos from TikTok. Those videos then did their rounds on many YouTube channels. Understandably, I had other content to produce, so did not respond to those videos. That does not mean I forgot though. I could have responded to these on TikTok, but I couldn't be bothered. So instead we're going to do it here, but what we're going to do is we're going to use a friend of mine's response video as a template, because the disdain that oozes from his pores and out of his goggles does a sufficient enough job at conveying my own cringe, but also I think my additional 2 cents with his 2 cents could make for a mildly entertaining video. Also, do consider subscribing to him. His channel link will be a pinned comment down below.
Greetings everyone, I'm Director Arketer of Arketer Labs, as you are surely aware by now, unless this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, in which case, nice to meet you. Hypothetically, I want to discuss a model citizen. Missy Model. Remember the disclaimer, this is not an encouragement to bother them in any way, shape or form. No, in fact, if anything, I'm helping them bother you.
Well, achievement unlocked, you've managed to bother my audience as well. Congratulations.
Missy Model is making the news less scary through parody. Or so they say. I think they've gotten it confused. I think they meant to say propaganda. Not parody, propaganda, P words, parody, propaganda. Really, simple mistake. Anyone could have done it.
For the sake of it, I think many of us are utterly sick and tired of the current circumstances many of us have faced, thanks to things like sheeple crowd control. Add to that the misinformation and conflicting messages. And yes, conspiracy theories are born because there isn't a concrete position that everyone can agree upon in favor of, yeah, but I just want to control you.
You've probably heard some of the work before because it's going viral. So viral, it's giving people cold sweats and shivers because it's just that damn cringy. But don't take my word for it. Here, have a taste.
She came in like a sake bomb. Yeah, she's nothing like that robot blonde or a hug of me or dancing charm. She handles questions refreshingly. She's our secretary.
This may be hard to believe. We don't spend a lot of time talking about or thinking about President Trump here. Former President Trump, to be very clear.
For the sake of it, my delicious, delightful co-host of the Moistski Live podcast, Political Recap I think we call it, yes, he and I have been quite critical of the Biden administration because, as there are now many polls pointing out, Biden's getting a considerable free pass and the press secretary is not doing a very good job. So whether or not this is parody or propaganda, I can't entirely say for certain, but I will admit to champion someone who is fundamentally failing at their job so early on is a bit cringy. Now granted, this isn't a politics channel, I know, but I have discussed this there. And if you are at all interested in listening to that, we are on Spotify. Link below. Help us get to 100 followers. Now let's hear what Arketer thinks.
But don't let that fool you. They're not just into political propaganda wherein they label all their political opponents as monsters and idiots. Nope. They're topical. They keep on top of things. That's why their most recent work...
So before we get to the next video, I did want to address this idea that whoever's the ruling party, the salty losers are the monsters, and there will always be someone that acts that way. So in the same sense, you have this person doing these cringy TikToks as parody, but they're clearly propaganda. You will have someone on the other side if they were in charge, if their winning party was in charge. At the moment in the United Kingdom, the left is busy eating itself, courtesy of a by-election happening. It's quite amusing. In America, though, it's been going on for quite some time because there is this belief that only those on the left can be correct. It is a very poisonous mentality to have. because it leads to arrogance. That's not to say there aren't some on the right that think that way. There are plenty of them, but at the moment, the left is in office, not the right.
Entirely revolves around the virus.
Welcome to the hotel insurrection.
This is more of a hybrid, I suppose.
Such a maskless place. The nodal room stage. Plenty of cooks at the hotel insurrection. Plastic trumps are wheeled. Nothing's normal here.
Oddly, the only gripe I actually have with this very cringe propaganda, which, yes, I am fully aware is also a parody of a certain event that happened in January, or was it February? You know, at this point I don't care. The part that got my attention was the last line, "Nothing's normal here," which tells me how out of touch you are with certain states where this is in fact normal. It is equal to normal, like a Democratic governor either being accused of misconduct with females in New York, yet still being in office even though they really shouldn't be, or a Californian governor who can't help but break all the very rules he sets for himself. One rule for me, but not for thee. And no, me throwing others under the bus does not mean I am more of a Republican person or a Democratic person. No, I think everyone's a dick, and firmly believe in no lives matter.
So wacky, so zany, so clearly the authority on normality.
Perhaps I should have said that instead. It was a far sicker burn, and I could have edited you out.
Speaking of normality, how normal is it that something's called an insurrection, wherein a group of people enter a building, do some property damage, one of the unarmed members gets shot to death, and rather than returning fire or setting anything on fire, they all just leave? Where the only other death is an officer who, although they lied about the causes of it for an extended period of time, it turned out just died of a stroke with no other injuries, internal or external.
Yes, it is quite surprising that at this point, how quiet the media has been on that coverage, in favour of a larger political message, which I will admit really aggravates me. While I am myself in the United Kingdom, I find it incredibly disingenuous for those that are considered free press and journalists to not do their due diligence and ensure that the people on the wider spectrum of every bloody state that cares remotely about what happened is informed about what happened.
Look, again, I was trying to say that they don't always just slander their political opponents. That's not all Missy Modell can do. They can also do topical propaganda.
I would like for all of you now to consider this your trigger warning, because the cringe levels are about to go through the roof. I am very sorry in advance for this, but you all need to suffer like I have suffered, and like director Arketer has suffered.
Hiya, Pfizer.
Hi, Ben.
You got any extra shots?
Sure, Ben.
Sleeves up.
I'm a Pfizer girl in a COVID world. I'm the classic mRNA-tastic 95%. There's no argument. Got no contagion with my vaccination.
Come on, Pfizer, let's go party.
With a mask on.
Come on, Pfizer, let's go travel.
Only if essential. Oh, we're having so much fun.
We'll have to do this again for my second shot.
Oh, I love you, Ben.
It's not just propaganda. It's a hit piece on Barbie Girl. It's that killed that song. I heard it screaming in the background. I think if we had a link or a file of Barbie Girl and played it afterwards, it would just self-delete.
Beyond mentioning two things. The first is the cringe levels were so bad, honestly my skin was crawling while listening to that. Also, I feel it's worthwhile pointing out that the argument of only if essential travel and always wearing a mask is where the words propaganda have come from. Masks have been proven to be effective in certain contexts, and travelling only if essential is also kind of a load of claptrap when we in the United Kingdom did not see spikes in infection rates or cases from travel. We saw it from education, more notably the schools.
And a bit self-contradictory, but not in the self-aware way. Like, for instance, talking about how great it is to get the vaccine, but still have to keep that mask on and travel only if essential while they're traveling in a non-essential fashion. Tee-hee. Tee-hee. Isn't that wacky, funny, fun?
Yes, you can tell from the smile on my face.
But there's one more I'm going to inflict on you. Deal with it.
Yeah, I want that herd immunity. I'm pulling on the sleeve, I'm signing up on the side. We'll party as a nation when we get immunization, maybe by the 4th of July. Hugging on my mind, giving you high fives, getting close to normal life. I'm feeling like I need a little antibody boost, inoculate me at the perfect time. It's Pfizer, Moderna, baby, my J&J. I'm vaccinated, the way I feel is liberated. Yeah. I got you. First shot, next shot, so hot I need you. Alright, no more quarantine, I'm vaccinating you. First shot, next shot, so hot I need you. Alright, come inside with me.
Oh, thank the Lord. That was arguably the worst one. Barbie Girl's a close second. Maybe? You know what? I'm going to challenge all of you. There are 4 of them. By all means, order them the way you believe, cringiest to least cringy, in the comments down below. As a final thing, I'm going to stream on Twitch tonight, but I'm going to emphasize, please consider subscribing to director Arketer. He does make good content, his SCP streams are fun, and I've made him twerk twice. Not even a joke, it's why I have a new crewman entirely based on him. You'll meet them next week. If I don't see you on Twitch tonight, have a fantastic Wednesday, and thank you all very much for listening.